Hello and welcome to WPO Fountain Pen Review. On this episode, we'll be taking a look at the Frederick Douglass Special Edition of the Retro 51 Tornado Fountain Pen. This was actually introduced as part of a gift set at the Farney's Pen Show in Washington, D.C. last year. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Jeff Velker. I'm one of the new owners of Retro 51, and we're at the Farney's show for this year. And it's not exclusive to Farney, but we're introducing it at Farney's. This is the Douglass gift set. So in it is the Douglass rollerball, pencil, and fountain pen. It's available in all four of the nib sizes: extra fine, fine, medium, and 1.1. And it does come with all the converter, the erasers, and the lead refills. And the fountain pen, as always, comes with 2 cartridges. So this is a really good price point for this. It retails for $176, and it's available at Farney's now, but it will be available at your favorite retailer within a few weeks.
You can of course get just the fountain pen if you like, or the entire set with the pencil and the pen as well. But before we get started and we take a look at the pen, let's start by taking a look at who was Frederick Douglass. Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey, better known as Frederick Douglass, was born into slavery around the year 1818 in Cordoba, Maryland. He lived with his maternal grandmother during his early years until he was moved to the White House plantation at around age 6. He was later given to Lucretia Holt, who sent Douglass to Baltimore to serve Hugh Holt. At age 12, Sophia, wife of Hugh Holt, began teaching Douglass the alphabet. His master disapproved of the tutoring, as he believed literacy would encourage slaves the desire of freedom. The tutoring stopped, but that did not keep Douglass from learning. He ended up teaching himself how to read and write, and later he started to teach other slaves to read while working at the William Freeland plantation. He was discovered and sent to Edward Covey, who was known to be a slave breaker and who constantly punished Douglass, trying to break his body, soul, and spirit. Douglass was 16 when he rebelled against the beatings by winning a physical confrontation against his master. He was never beaten again. On September 1838, he successfully escaped and was able to get to a safe house in New York City. Days later, he married Anna Murray, who he had met a few years early, and they settled in New Bedford, Massachusetts. He became a licensed preacher in 1839. Afraid his former owner would come for him, Douglass set sail for Liverpool on August of 1845 and stayed in Europe for a couple of years. After supporters were able to buy his freedom, Frederick Douglass came back to the United States in 1847 and started to publish the North Star, his first abolitionist newspaper. Frederick Douglass became a national leader of the abolitionist movement. He was a firm believer in equality and fought for women's right to vote, and was an early advocate for school desegregation. During his life, he published numerous books and even ran for office at one point. His legacy will forever be remembered, and that's why Retro 51 decided to pay tribute to Frederick Douglass with this version of their popular Retro 51 Tornado Fountain Pen. Right now, let's take a closer look at the pen. The brass barrel is accentuated by a beautiful computer engraved that gives him this antique look, and its copper trim. On the finial of the cap, we can appreciate a portrait of Frederick Douglass, coming down to a ring that reads Tornado by Retro 51, and a beautiful antique looking copper trimmed clip that matches the center band. The texture of the computer engraving feels great, and let's admit it, it looks great with the light, giving it an antique feeling to it. Now the cap, of course, is a twist off, and once you take it off, It's very easy to just post it in the back, and as you can see, it's a perfect size, not too big, not too small, and it does bring you back a little bit. It's a bit heavy, but nothing really complicated to write with. Right now, let's take a closer look at the nib. This Frederick Douglass edition of the Retro 51 Tornado fountain pen comes with a jewel steel nib, available in different sizes, with a beautiful engraving, the logo of Retro 51, and in this case an M for medium. In the back, a plastic feed. This fountain pen right here is actually not my first pen from Retro 51, as earlier last year I got the raw brass Tornado fountain pen. And I have to admit that I just love the old school look that the Retro 51 fountain pens have. This one in particular with the portrait of Frederick Douglass. And I'm just a fan of the overall look and feel of this fountain pen. But being a good looking pen is one thing, but how does it write is something more important. Right now, let's take a look at how this fountain pen gets the job done. Alright, let's take a look. Once again, this is the Frederick Douglass edition of the Retro 51 Tornado fountain pen. As for ink, I'm using the Monteverde USA Moonstone ink. And as you can see, this fountain pen is a bit scratchy on the paper, but writes pretty well. It does seem to be a little dry, which I think is great, because that way I'm not gonna get any dirt on the page. And now that we saw how this pen writes, I have to say that I'm still amazed by it. I've actually been using it for an entire week now, and I'm just in love with it. First of all, the pen looks great, let's admit it. The color looks great with the copper details. The Frederick Douglass portrait on the cap is just an amazing touch. I'm a big fan of how the nib looks. And although I felt that this fountain pen was a bit scratchy on the paper, which kind of slowed down a little bit my writing, I have to say that overall, I'm in love with it. The pen just looks great. And if I'm putting way too much B-roll of this pen on this fountain pen review, it's because I'm simply not getting tired at all of seeing it. This is a beautiful pen. Retro 51 has done a great job creating and keeping their Tornado fountain pen. So for anyone watching this video, I would definitely recommend to buy a Tornado fountain pen from Retro 51. And that's it for me this week. Thank you so much for watching WPO Fountain Pen Review. Please remember to subscribe and like this video to let me know you're enjoying this content so I can keep doing more videos like this. Everyone, have a great day.